This is Water Elemental.
And this is Axis, and we are here today to talk about the League of Legends. This is an ongoing show where we talk a little bit about everyone's favorite MOBA-style battle game. We've got
3 champions to talk about this week.
stuff. Just lots of stuff. So, a patch dropped this week, which was really curious. We've got Sion on the horizon, and we also have the new Viktor and the new Soraka that came with this new patch. In addition, we have some cool skins on the PvE, but we'll talk about those a little bit later. Jumping right into it, Sion!
They did a interesting build-up to him this week. They had kind of this side site, kind of like they did with Ascension, called Glory. It was part 1 Glory, part 2 The Fall, part 3 Rise, and then 4 Reborn. And it kind of built up this this hero of Noxus who was this huge butcher. He was very, very powerful. And when he finally died, essentially the Noxus were like, well, crap, what do we do? Bring him back with dark magic.
In the original lore, it was Garen that killed Sion. I wonder who they gave credit for now.
It was Jarvan II, and he actually killed Jarvan II.
So they died in each other's arms?
Oh, lover, we must die and come back as zombies and fight on the fields. Oh, wait, those aren't there anymore.
Why not?
But give it a full read. They put out a lot of lore, interjoining characters. But again, side stuff.
Doesn't make any sense in gameplay.
But
let's jump right into it. We'll go over what his skills are. So first is his passive. It's called Glory and Death. Sion turns berserk once he loses all his health, gaining a full life bar, along with significant attack damage, attack speed, and lifesteal as he bleeds out. His abilities are all replaced by Death Surge, which gives him a huge but brief movement speed burst, and Sion will die once his health drains out. So essentially, he gets a big chunk of health back when he is reduced to 0 HP. He gains the ability to use move speed, and he gets a lot of attack speed, damage, and lifesteal, and you'll basically have to fight the clock until you die. His first ability is Q. It is called Decimating Smash. Sion will plant his feet and root himself as he winds up and swings his axe in a broad area in front of him. Decimating Smash deals increasing damage the longer it's charged, and once it's at least half charged, it will knock up all enemies when it's unleashed. His next ability is Soul Furnace. As a passive ability, Sion will earn bonus max HP every time he kills a unit. On its activation, Sion will create a bloody shield around him. The shield stays intact for its duration. It will explode and deal magic damage to all nearby enemies. Sion can also detonate the shield early by activating the ability once again. Next is Roar of the Slayer. Sion bellows in a target direction, damaging, slowing, and shredding the armor of the first enemy struck. If Roar of the Slayer hits an enemy minion or a jungle monster, Sion's scream will also knock them back a significant distance. The thrown minion or monster then damages and slows all other enemy units hit. His ultimate is Unstoppable Onslaught. Sion will begin charging in a target direction, building up speed as he moves, and trampling enemy units along his path. He can cancel his charge early, at which point he slams the ground, dealing an area of effect damage to all nearby enemies. Otherwise, Sion charges an extremely long distance, only stopping when he hits an enemy champion wall or reaches the end of his charge. Sion charges an enemy champion, he knocks them up, deals area of effect damage. If he hits a wall, Sion stuns himself briefly and deals area of effect damage around him. Cool! So, Sion is an unstoppable wall of god flesh.
he's freaking insane. They moved his old passive ability that took up a skill and moved it to a shield, which is very helpful. He's got an interesting ground slam mechanic. Kind of think of it as a Janna tornado, but in a melee effect. He has this minion kicking mechanic where he just hucks them across the freaking battlefield. And then he has Unstoppable Onslaught where he just kind of trains towards somewhere.
Now does he get to change direction, or is it just you line yourself up, you just go?
You just go. So you go mid lane. They're fighting mid lane. Dun, 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 dun.
Now, can you activate Soul Furnace while you're running?
I wonder. I wish I could tell you.
Can you use Roar of the Slayer while you're running?
I bet you're stuck.
Because you're running and then you scream at a guy next to you and he goes flying off.
Oh god!
Get out of my way!
His passive is probably my favorite thing about him. It's like what they should have done with Aatrox. It's like, all right, he comes back, but he only lasts for a certain amount of time, and then he's gonna inevitably die. But like, if it's in a team fight and he's the first to fall, he gets to come back and still be an asshole.
I will kill
Everything. And then go to Baron and then die.
So who gets kill credit on him?
I bet it's the person that originally kills him, kind of like Kog'Maw.
Probably.
Or whoever kills. Well, yeah, I would say Zach.
What if he gets his bonus health back, and then he gets murdered again by someone else?
It's gonna be. Yeah, that's a good question. I bet it's the first time you kill him,
Probably.
because the second time will probably just because that's part of his effect.
Because he's just bleeding out, and he's the Scion of Darkness. But either way, it's hard to say what he's gonna be like in game. I'm really looking forward to Unstoppable Onslaught. I want to see how far, very far is.
Yeah.
And by the way, his skins look really funny.
I love the
Lumberjack.
He has like a furnace on his chest.
Lumberjack is the best skin. By far.
By far. So it was worth the wait, I have to say. As far as like visually looking, he looks really good, and I can't wait to hear what he actually sounds like.
My name is Sion. Hello, Sion.
I'm Sion. I'm gonna murder you.
Oh God, no.
They just what do? They take Vagar's voice, put it on there, or they do Gnar's voice on there.
It's charging. It gets louder as he's running, and then like by the end of it, like your speaker's like shaking by the bass.
Sion on duty. Oh God. So we have a patch that also came out very recently, so we're just gonna talk about that real quickly. So like we said before, this patch involves the remake of Viktor and Soraka, which we will talk about right after we go over these notes. First things first, Cassiopeia, now that her mana costs have not been knocked down by her passive, they have gone, relatively the same. Her base mana has been increased and her mana per level has also increased. Ability power ratio on Noxious Blast has increased by 0.1. Twin Fang now correctly resets its cooldown at 0.5 seconds instead of 0.7, as indicated by the tooltip. Garen got a huge buff to Perseverance. Perseverance is no longer removed by non-epic monsters at level 7 and above, or level 11 and above. And the health regeneration now scales from 0.4 at level 1 to 0.8 level 11, and a whole 2% at level 16. And the cooldown goes from 9 to 6 to 4 at 1, 11, and 16 respectively. Huge change for Garen. It's going to do great. Karma can now use her ultimate while she is disabled.
Same with Mr. Heimerdinger,
who can use his ultimate while he's disabled. LeBlanc
now
creates a mirror image as soon as she hits that health threshold, and they both become invisible. And the invisibility lasts 1 second, and then you can sort of set things up and disappear however you like. A Distortion now allows 3 seconds to warp back, or 4 seconds instead of 3, so it's a pretty big change for her. A lot more survivability. Maokai, oh my God, what happened?
They decreased his damage on his ultimate. His maximum damage is now 100, 150, and 200 with his ultimate, so he pretty much got his damage reduced by half.
It's really garbage.
Yeah. Oh, we want to make him viable again. Oh, he's too strong. And then he's going to go back to Never Picked, and the era of Maokai is forever lost in the sands of time, drifting away.
Yeah. Nautilus can now use Dredgeline on player-created terrain. Nidori got taken down a little bit. Base attack damage was knocked down by 5 points. Base attack speed was reduced just slightly. Takedown got nerfed kind of significantly. The minimum and maximum attack damage ratios were knocked down, and the minimum and maximum ability power ratios were brought up. Pounce now resets the cooldown to 1.5 seconds instead of just 1. And the cooldown reduction cap on the Cougar jumping has been changed so that way the jump once again benefits from it, and swipe no longer affects the cooldown when you're going after a hunted target. Rymus now has some interchangeability between Powerball and Defensive Ball Curl, so we can have 1 second of overlap in between these two forms, which makes the transitions a little bit easier. They don't fade immediately. There's a 1 second aura stickiness to it. Talon got his silence taken away. Cutthroat now just slows their movement speed by 99% for 0.25 seconds. Just long enough to get an auto attack in. But holy crap! Poor Talon.
It's like, okay, you want to play Talon? He's a very, very sneaky assassin who initially jumps on you, keeps you silenced, and while you're there, you got to do your damage and back out. So if you don't do that damage in the initial few seconds, they'll be able to get away. And then they're just like, oh, we don't want that, so we're just going to give him a 99% slow, which is slow at 99% is pretty good.
But not having a silence means he's a lot more vulnerable to counterattacks, which might be what they were going for.
Yeah.
Tristiana got her ultimate to have a scaling cooldown, 185 and 70, which is longer than it was at all ranks previously. So a big kind of nerf to Tristiana in terms of her hit level 6, then kill them ability. Chrono Shift on Zillion got an increased visual size, so you'll be able to tell when you're getting baited into death a lot easier.
Yeah, because you kind of really can't tell unless you're listening for it.
Indeed. And, I mean, a lot of new players don't know to listen for it. I watched a lot of people dive Zillion this weekend, and I was like, what are you doing?
It's Zillion. You always got to prepare for the res.
Yeah,
you always prepare for the res.
You wait and you back. You just back off. You just leave them alone. A lot of texture updates for a lot of older characters, so just be on the lookout for higher poly models and textures along with them. And then finally, we got 2 skins. First of all, we have the Order of the Lotus Karma, which is an amazing skin. It looks really good, matches her aesthetic, and the art style is magnificent. We have the Fantic skins that we talked about last week. They are finally out, so you can go get them. The black and the orange, it looks incredible. Take a look.
Karthus and J4 and Corky look amazing.
Mm-hmm. And finally, we have some updates to 2 of our very good friends. So we're going to jump right in and talk about those folks. Next, we're going to be talking about my favorite, Viktor!
Glorious evolution.
Yeah. So, first of all, big changes to Viktor. His passive, Glorious Evolution, he starts the game with a Hex Core. This isn't new, but now it can be upgraded 3 times throughout the course of the game. So those Hex Cores are rather interesting, but we want to talk about his abilities first. So, firstly, Siphon Power. Viktor creates a shield around himself and blasts an enemy unit with magic damage. Additionally, his next auto attack will deal a lot of magic damage in addition to the attack function. When upgraded with his passive, the Siphon Power will give Viktor a moderate movement speed boost on the cast. His next ability is Gravity Field. This will create a gravitational field at the target location, which will slow all non-friendly units caught inside, and the field will trigger after a few seconds and stun anyone still caught inside. His Augment ability causes the gravitational field to suck all caught enemies into the center once it triggers. His next ability is Death Ray. Viktor fires a beam of energy across the battlefield and will damage all enemies caught. When augmented, it will have Aftershock. The beam of energy explodes a moment after being cast, dealing additional damage and a further amount of damage from characters that are already affected by the initial laser. His ultimate is Chaos Storm. Create an electrical storm at the target location that interrupts all nearby enemy channeling abilities and will slowly move around and deal damage over time to targets. The storm can move independently, but it loses movement speed the further it travels from Viktor. And when upgraded with your Augment, Chaos Storm will move slightly faster at all times.
So we've been mentioning this Augment kind of mechanic, and his Scepter now, or his Hextech Core, can be upgraded to gain additional ability, power, cooldown reduction, and some damage each time you upgrade it. And each time you upgrade it, you get a Kha'Zix evolution type mechanic where
so
you can
get
change.
To choose one of your 3 basic abilities. Once you've upgraded all 3 basic abilities,
your ult is upgraded.
Your ult is upgraded.
And I think this is a much better way they did it. So if you're forced with an item, you got to make the item actually be worth upgrading.
Indeed.
And this way, it's like your skills will get way better, and you'll get this additional ability power boost and damage boost. So
overall, it's going to be really fun to play with him. The first thing that I'm enjoying is sort of the auto attack from Siphon Power. Having the shield go off instantly to make it a good trading ability is something that needed to happen, and I'm really glad that they did it like that.
I like the Gravity Well now actually pulling people in, so it's a way to kind of start team fights. Like you catch one person, pull them into the middle, And it's like, you're going to be here for a while, so we're going to punch on you for a bit.
And then they die.
And then you do it again.
Exactly. So you can pull them in with Gravity Well, and then cast your ultimate and just have fun. Just have fun.
Have fun.
Unfortunately, they did remove the silence on his ultimate, which is a pretty big nerf to his power.
But the size of the ultimate is...
They've actually been hitting a lot of silences lately.
I don't think they like the silence mechanic, because I think Soraka lost it too.
Yes, she did.
We'll get into that. But the ultimate actually has a bigger radius.
Indeed.
So you can catch more people in it, so it's not like a targeted...
Do more Chaos Storming.
Chaos Storm. And then Lysandra's Torment just burns away at them. It's like, it keeps burning me.
It's so good. It's so good.
But yeah, I haven't seen him in game yet. Have you played him yet? Or
I have not. I spent all last night playing Blitzcrank. So Blitzcrank brand top. You can't beat it. Fireballs and Falcon punches.
I don't know. It might be the actual gameplay right now. We'll see. We'll see. It all depends if I can get the file working.
Seriously.
LOL Replay, the most untrustworthy recording system I've
Like
ever
my
used.
parents. Next up is Soraka. She got a kit reworked. This is what, her second one?
I think she got a visual update and then they just tweaked her really hard.
So this is, well, yeah.
2.0. We'll call her
2.5.
2.5.
So first of all, her passive. Soraka gains significant move speed when she moves towards heavily wounded allies. So we're talking significant. Like those hooves, they start clopping pretty hard.
They start like space clopping where she like floats in the air and runs on the air.
Exactly. So her first ability is Starfall. Soraka will call down a meteor at a target location, which will damage all enemies caught by the explosion and deal extra damage and slow enemies directly under the impact. Next is Astral Infusion, which will heal Soraka whenever she hits an enemy champion with Starf Call. In addition, her active, Soraka will sacrifice some of her own health and heal a nearby ally. Next is Equinox. Soraka will briefly conjure a celestial zone at a target location. Enemies standing above the zone are silenced until they leave, and while they're standing above Equinox, if it collapses, they will be briefly rooted. And finally, Wish. Soraka will summon a global heal for all allied champions. Heavily wounded allies will gain extra health. So, I really like this new style of Soraka. It's almost kind of like old Taric, where you went on the offensive to heal more, but in this case, you're going heal, fire, fire, heal, fire, fire. You're
being a very aggressive support.
You're basically draining health from them and putting it on your other dudes, which I think is awesome.
It's a really kind of cool mechanic and something completely different from Soraka, because she was originally just, I can give you mana, I can give you health. Now she doesn't have the mana mechanic anymore, but that's kind of for the best, because that was like the only niche for you to play her, and now that there's so much mana regen coming from basic items, you really don't need her as often, so having her in this role of kind of siphoning life from people and just pecking them away from a very, very long distance is a plus. Equinox is a really, really cool ability, too.
It looks really nice. It looks really, really, really nice.
Yeah, and it has a silence. It actually has the silence. They are silenced until they leave. So pretty much they took Viktor's AoE silence and gave it to Soraka.
Which is good and bad. I don't know. The root component on it, I feel like you get a silence and then the root goes off, which is nice, but it's, I don't know. I feel like it's a lot of utility.
Yeah, and I wonder her max ranges for that poke, because if she could just sit on the outside of a tower and just start pegging people,
well, it's a skill shot now.
Yeah, but you could still line it up and hit them.
As much as a skill shot as it can be.
Yeah, it's just like...
I thought I was reading on the PBE, they were briefly saying that the closer that you are to where you cast it, the faster it goes
the center,
down.
It does more damage, I think. But
either way, something I need to check out in-game. Normally, I'm playing support, and I'm just playing Blitzcrank.
And as someone like me who liked Soraka to begin with, I'm kind of interested to see how these new mechanics work. She's not going to be able to... She's not going to be like most supports where you're going to be sitting back. You're actually going to be active.
And that's what I like. I like Leona. I like Blitzcrank.
I like the new Sona. Supports. The new Sona's like that too. A lot of people hate being aggressive and actually having to do something with Sona. Ah!
I want to play Reaction League. No, thank you. Active League is best league.
Yeah. But really cool updates, very, very cool mechanics for both champions, and hopefully we see more of this going to some older champions.
Indeed, they definitely need it.
We mentioned skins earlier. We have a new legendary skin as well as...
Dunkmaster Darius!
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
So, Dunkmaster Darius is a legendary skin. It's going to be 1820, and it's going to have some really cool, like, passive animations.
Wow. Incredible.
What do you think? You're a Darius player.
I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it.
You're really going to get it.
Absolutely.
You haven't bought a skin in a long time.
That's right. That's the one. This is the one.
All right, explain to me why you want this skin and why should our...
Are you ready to rumble? That's actually fighting noise, but whatever. I don't even like basketball that much, but...
The effects on it are really
That's
fun.
right.
He does have a weird thing where his arm stretches out a lot farther than it should be when he does his
the
dunk.
animation is only a quarter of a second, so it's not a big deal, really.
If you hit enough of his stacks, a little like basketball hoop will show
It's
up.
amazing.
And then when you dunk, you go through the hoop.
It's amazing.
So
It's figuratively amazing.
if you want to see the full thing, surrender20.net has a full video of all the animations. It's unbelievable.
Indeed.
We have 2 Halloween skins.
Ravenborn LeBlanc.
Yeah, LeBlanc needed a new skin. Too bad, again, it's a seasonal thing. It's like Maokai, where she only gets seasonal skins.
It's unfortunate.
But the particle effects are incredibly cool when she does
She's a
her...
Raven Witch, and it's actually kind of fitting for her lore.
Yeah, she does like a cool like jump forward, and it gives like a ghostly particle to it. Her chain has like cool animation. It's going to be one I'm going to pick up for LeBlanc for sure. She looks amazing.
Next we have Spectral Wukong, which has new animations, very cool particle effects, and it's a very unique skin for the character. I would recommend it.
Wukong gets some pretty cool color schemes. This is the second one.
It's like a turbocharged Jade Wukong.
Yeah, I have to say the Jade Serpent one looks just as green as this. And I love the green color scheme that they did with it. And the model itself is a lot cleaner. So I do enjoy that a lot. And finally, we've been looking for it, and here it is. The championship skin that you can all purchase this year is Championship Shavana.
I think it looks like garbage.
Yeah. It looks ridiculously dumb. She is over armored. She looks bulky. She looks like she's just...
Well, the colors don't really work that well, and...
She looks like a human wearing armor.
It looks like a toy.
And the other, like, coming from Thresh and Riven,
The Riven skin is still amazing. The
Ugh.
Thresh one is amazing. And this one I just don't feel like it lives up to that legacy.
it just does not look good at all. It's... Ugh. But I don't know. It's still PvE footage. They might change it up. But yeah, she is so thick.
It's pretty bad.
The blue flames are cool, but
But
everything
it's still
else...
on PvE. Could change. Who knows? We will have to see. But that's really it for official news this week, guys. We're going to be moving on to our own section. We are running a little bit long, so we're going to do one this week. We have one question from Mr. 12. He says, do you guys plan to have a Twitch stream?
We've been fiddling around with it. I announced it a couple weeks ago. I've been figuring out what I could do that would be interesting.
And when is the big part.
If you have any suggestions for games you'd like me to stream.
And time periods.
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking weekends. That way, you know, there's time for many people to watch. And I just need suggestions on games to play. I'm not good at picking games that you enjoy.
Yeah, and I'm definitely... I've got a lot of games that I do play right now.
But they're hard to stream because they're so intense.
Well, Star Citizen is hard to stream, certainly. But I could do some things like... Dota is one I've been playing a lot of lately.
Why don't we stream some Dota?
We could do some Dota. I could have people watch me play Tusky Dusky.
Dusk.
I've been doing a lot of Blitzcrank lately in Dota or in League, so that's something we could do as well. It's just a matter of figuring out when you guys are free and when it's gonna matter that we do it. But we'll definitely take a look into that. That's something that we've been wanting doing. It's just a matter of getting the logistics down, which is always the hardest part.
We have a whole list of stuff that we want to do. We're planning on doing some more videos about like board games. We're thinking about doing some more reviews, all sorts of stuff. So if you guys want to give us your opinion on what you guys want to see, we're always open to that. Send us an email at spasticgaming@gmail.com or comment section or Twitter, Facebook. We got all sorts of stuff. Keep your eye out for that. We're also kind of planning out maybe a Patreon if you guys want to help out the show. Usually we're not up for this, but you know, some people have suggested it, so something that we're thinking about. More details on all this when we get things settled out.
It's been Axis.
And Water Elemental.